youtube.com/MayhewMayhem. That's youtube.com/MayhewMayhem.
Hello and welcome to another episode of 30 Minutes of Mayhem. I am your host, my name is Michael Mayhew, and I am here with my co-hosts.
What's up, everybody? It's me, Greg. Once again, we are joined by that creepy guy who lives in his basement.
Nick from youtube.com/thetictacman. And also joining us is the man who skims the pool behind my house, Emmanuel.
Hello.
As I said, welcome to 30 Minutes of Mayhem, the podcast your mother can be ashamed of. And tell me, Nick, why is this the podcast your mother can be ashamed of?
Because I take my old socks and I stuff them in my mouth while I masturbate, because I find the smell both repulsive yet somewhat erotic.
That is exactly correct.
That makes this a podcast that even I'm ashamed of, just from hearing what you just said, Nick.
The reason why he's ashamed of it is he's like, fuck, I thought I was the only person that did that. He's like,
He said that, he's just like, man, that's such a good idea, because sometimes I like grab my foot and pull it to my head and I look like an idiot trying to sniff it, but for some reason there's just something that keeps bringing me back.
He's like, I just always pull out my fungal jerk sock and stuff it in my mouth.
Fungal jerk. Oh.
You're the one with athlete's foot on your dick. I don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
Oh my
The
god.
real tears start flowing.
The funny thing about Greg having athlete's foot.
Yeah.
Fuck. Before we get into this, let's take a quick commercial break.
Ever been searching through your bush looking for your dick and can't seem to find it? Well, you won't have that problem with 30 Minutes of Mayhem because it's available on YouTube, iTunes, Stitcher, Spreaker, and a plethora of other options. With 30 Minutes of Mayhem, every pube is a dick. You look down and you have a cocktopus of options.
So before we get into this first topic, I want to tell you guys a little bit of a story that inspired this topic.
Okay, let's hear it.
The naval base that I lived on was a joint base, actually. When you live in the barracks, the only people who can stay in your room overnight are you and your roommate if you have one. There was this gentleman that apparently had a roommate, and he had his girlfriend also living in the room with him. This super common thing happens all the fucking time based on my experience. Well, this gentleman lives up on the second floor. Now, keep in mind, it is pretty simple to hide somebody in your room or on base or whatever that isn't in service, because there's people that work such different schedules. People just blend the fuck in. So this gentleman, he lives on the second floor, and the girlfriend that he has living with him is wheelchair bound. There's no elevator in the building that he's in. He has to carry her in her chair up 2 flights of steps to get to where he lives. It's not very easy to hide someone on base when they are wheelchair bound.
That's true love right there. That is true love.
Yeah. I mean, props.
Apparently he had a roommate at the time. The roommate kept complaining that girlfriend was staying there, and they were super confused because she's wheelchair bound. So it's not like you can hide her. It's pretty obvious who she is when she's the only person on the entire base in a wheelchair. And you live on the second floor of a barracks, so it's not exactly the easiest to hide her because you have to carry her up the fucking steps. Everyone sees it. Anyways, so finally they get reported and they're trying to catch this guy in the act. And finally they do. After a long period of trying, they finally do. One day they get into his room when he is at work, and they find her passed out in the bathtub.
Oh shit.
Dead. Heroin,
Wait, is she-
heroin overdose.
Oh my god.
What? This is a
Are
this
you
is a
fucking
fucking
with
twist.
No, I'm just playing. She didn't have a heroin overdose, but
Oh my god. I thought that might have been the case. I was just like, oh my god. Is that fucking with us? Is he not? I can't tell with Mike.
I got a sad sandwich with sad toppings on top of it.
Speaking of heroin, my question to you guys is, do you think that you could ever date or have sex with someone who is para or quadriplegic?
Fuck yeah, because I love to go to theme parks. And bam, if I got a girl who's a para,
Interesting.
Well, we already know the answer for Greg, so I guess we could skip him because he's like, yeah, I mean, that means vagina, right?
Well,
So,
guys,
cashing in that V card even if she can't feel it, that makes it even better.
Probably, yeah. Especially if it was in, like, dating, if it was just, like, you know, a one-night stand or something like that. It would probably be better if it was just, like, with somebody who, like, you know, isn't gonna get any sensation out of it, because there's a good chance that I'm probably gonna suck, and I'm probably gonna just blow my load after the first pump.
But think of that long term, Greg. Though that's like preparation for being a porn star, because you can just pound and pound all day. Like you will build up a tolerance.
A tolerance? I don't know if that's the word I would use.
You will build up a very calloused foreskin. It'll be a big dick sensitivity issue.
That's right. You'll be using that lotion on your dick just to make the callus go away and nothing else.
This stole my foreskin when I was but a babe.
So, Greg,
Yeah.
Greg, you're saying that you're not opposed to Meals on Wheels.
Wow. Wow.
See, it's the easiest way to ride her around Chowtown.
Oh my god. Oh god. Oh.
Ladies with hair, or do you only eat bear?
As long as it's not too much hair, because, you know,
How the
I don't
fuck
want
would
to
you
get that
know?
shit in my teeth.
Because he's the Christopher Columbus of porn.
Speaking of Christopher Columbus
He
of
has
porn,
eyes.
Christopher Columbus of xxx.tumblr.com.
Somebody's eating up bandwidth.
So speaking of eating up bandwidth, you are not opposed to dating and or having sexual intercourse with someone who is para or quadriplegic.
Well, quadriplegic,
Or paraplegic,
maybe,
yeah.
but yeah, paraplegic I'm perfectly fine with.
If it wasn't racist to say no, what would the term be? Like, it's not sexist.
It's called ableist.
Okay, so are you an ableist?
No. Well, I mean, what do you mean by that? What the fuck are you trying to say?
He's like, psst, no. I mean, well, like, so I mean, like, well, what do you mean by that, though, Nick? I mean,
Well, like I said, I mean, if we're talking about paraplegic, yeah, definitely, I'm game with that. Quadriplegic, you know what? I still think I could even get down with that, because arousal, even after being para or quadriplegic, is still an autonomic response.
is it though? I don't know the science behind it.
You didn't know that? Stephen
No.
Hawking had kids, and his dick would still get up after he was in his chair.
I thought that they kind of just extracted that from his testicles and just artificially inseminated.
We need more. Quick. The turkey baster.
Well, that's what I'm.
The turkey baster?
They had to act fast. Like, that shit, like, practically dies as soon as it hits the air.
That is true.
I mean, he divorced his first wife and remarried. There was intercourse involved, I'm sure.
So you're good with it then? Is what you're saying?
Yeah. You know what? I'm gonna be on a shadow of doubt say I'm good with it. And that whole thing I said about theme parks, that's definitely a major plus.
So, Emmanuel, I know in your home country, you guys just like execution style murder anyone that's like para or quadriplegic, right?
You know nothing.
They don't just like cut their
You know
heads off.
nothing beyond the walls, John.
They don't just cut their heads off and put them on pikes or whatever. And like, random ass people, it happens too.
That's because they have cameras and they ask too many questions.
I'm gonna defer to Nick here. Is there a specific fetish that has to do with being turned on by someone who is para or quadriplegic?
I don't know about that, but I do know there's one that goes to a further extent that's become really popular as of late, and that's called nugget porn, where it's not paraplegics, but amputees.
Yeah, and no, they have, like, all of their limbs removed. That's what nugget porn is.
So-
Fucking somebody with no
Why?
arms and
'Cause they're,
legs.
like,
Yeah, because
Yeah.
they're basically
Nuggets or
nuggets.
Because they're pretty much a chunk of meat like a chicken nugget.
I know, it's horrible, but that's what they call it. Yeah, the first time I discovered what that was, I was just like, well, time to blow my brains out so I can forget that.
It's like time to blow my load out. So,
Oh god.
Time to blow my balls out, because I can't forget that.
haha. Have you used this quote nugget porn unquote as a masturbatorial aid?
No.
So I think you should check that out. Let us know.
Get back to us on that.
Yeah, get back to us on that. So say that like you are able to clone yourself, okay? You and your clone are going at it with your fiance, DP, whatever the hell you're doing, I don't know. And you're
God, I wish I could bring him back from that alternate universe.
This is weird. YouTube.com/MayhewMayhem. This is weird. There's like multiple playlists in there. Anyway, so you sever her spinal cord and she's paralyzed from the waist down now because you and your clone double penetrated her so hard that it snapped her spine.
I think we can sell this script to browsers, to be quite honest.
Probably.
She's now paraplegic and she can't feel anything from the waist down. Does that change your answer to the question? Are you like so glad that this happened before the wedding? Because
No, I would.
you like
I would.
you like take her up to the view of Pittsburgh where you proposed or whatever, and you just wheel her wheelchair off the side.
This is where we first met, and this is where we'll last see each other. That's wonderful.
The bloom of our deepest love, and the end of it as well.
Anyways, so now she doesn't feel anything from the waist down. You don't wheel her off the side of a cliff. You still want to be with her. You're saying yes because you have to say yes, because if this comes out before your wedding, that could ruin things for you if you say anything other than yes. So I will then pose that question to Greg. In a hypothetical sense, if you are with someone...
If your mother.
I don't know if he's fucking his
You or
mom.
someone you love is diagnosed with paraplegioma.
You may be entitled to compensation.
Now, is the compensation pushing them, wheeling them, off the side of the fucking cliff where you proposed? Which is funny because Nick proposed up on like the side of a cliff and I did the same thing. So 2 different cliffs, 2 different states, 2 different views. Yours better than mine, but that's neither here nor there. My fiance better than yours, but that's also neither here nor there. But what I'm saying is that, Greg, if you were in a relationship with somebody, or Emmanuel, you can also answer this because neither one of you are in the situation that Nick and I are in. If you are in a relationship with somebody and for some way, shape, or form, they either become para or quadriplegic, do you just like peace the fuck out, or are you like, yeah, I guess I'll stick by your side here? Yeah, let's
It depends on how much I like them. If I like really felt a connection with them and really thought I could spend the rest of my life with them, then yeah, I would definitely like stick it out with them. But if it was just like one of those things where it's like you thought there was something going on, but it turns out that it wasn't really as you really weren't as in love with them as you thought you were, then yeah, I probably wouldn't. Like, I mean, I wouldn't just completely abandon them, but I couldn't. What's the word I'm looking for? Like,
What I've gathered from what you're trying to say is you got a lot of your own shit, and it would be hard for you to be the correct person to be able to support them because you got your own shit and you can't even deal with your own shit.
Yeah, I can barely deal with my own shit right now. I don't think I would be the right person.
So my answer is multiple things. 1, have they been paraplegic like their entire life, or pretty much their entire life, right? You gotta think, if it's a female, she's like that, or dude, whatever. If you're into dudes, Greg, not judging, you know. But anyway, she is probably given so many hand jobs and blow jobs in her life that she's probably really, really, really good at both of them. Because people probably have felt awkward about like, does she feel stuff below the belt? I don't know. Like maybe I'll just, you know, like get a little, you know, jerky or whatever, you know, because it's a little people get a little awkward about it, right?
Yeah, there are some girls that will just like post that shit on their Tinder, like, yes, I can feel down there, just to like get it out of the way before a conversation even starts.
Maybe they can't feel down there, maybe they can, or whatever. I feel like people are probably awkward about it, so people are more willing to do that, so they could probably suck your dick straight off your body. That's like a possibility. Is that a thing? Like, and not only that, like she's not gonna be like, my fucking knees hurt or whatever the fuck. You're like, just sit there, like in your chair, and you stand next to a chair.
just sit there.
Yeah,
it's okay.
Like I don't expect you to kneel because I don't know if you can hold yourself. God, this is fucking terrible. We're pieces of shit. All jokes aside, it's gonna make me sound like a piece of shit, whatever. But I've said before on the show that if it ever came to the point to where I became like quadriplegic or paraplegic or whatever, I would blow in my straw or I would roll myself off a cliff. Right, I would blow in my straw until I rolled myself off of a cliff. I don't feel like I've ever been a strong enough person to ever deal with that with myself, so I don't feel like I could say that I would be strong enough or good enough of a person to be in a relationship or whatever with someone who was, because I couldn't even deal with it being me alone. now that no one is listening anymore, and we're never gonna be able to get any sort of sponsors or anything like that. So with all of that being said, we're gonna roll right on into this commercial.
Hi, Greg here. Feel like you're not getting enough pussy on your dick? Dick feeling a little dry? Balls not getting bounced on enough? I got the solution right here. A 30 Minutes of Mayhem shirt, and it's guaranteed to get you laid. Don't believe me? Just listen to these satisfied customers.
Ever since I started wearing my 30 Minutes of Mayhem shirt, I get pussy 5 times a day now. Thanks, Mom, for buying me the shirt.
Gone down there, I get my shirt out, porky pigging that son bitch. I'll tell you what, I'm only wearing that shirt when I'm fucking a bitch in the ass. Goddamn animals. Do animals count? Is that part of this thing? What if I'm fucking my cousin? If I'm fucking my cousin, does that count too? What about homosexuality? Is there any specific thing that we are disregarding when it comes to whether these shirts will get me laid or will they will not get me laid? Now, I'll tell you what, well, fuck it. If I'm porky pigging goddamn shit, these fucking things work.
Are you ready to roll around in a wheelchair the rest of your life because your pelvis got pulverized by pounding so much pussy? Then roll on over to MayhewMayhem.spreadshirt.com and get laid today!
Warning, 30 Minutes Man cannot guarantee wearing this shirt will get you laid. Results may vary.
The 90s, a decade of decadence. Not quite as decadent as the 80s maybe, but still pretty decadent. It was also a decade of many important moments in pop culture. What were those moments? Well, we here at 30 Minutes of Mayhem will be discussing some of the most important moments in pop culture of the 90s. This is Nostalgia Bomb. We are recording episode 90. So, we're going to be talking about something that happened in 1990, specifically the release of one of my personal all-time favorite movies, Home Alone. Home Alone has been a big part of not just my childhood, but my whole life. Like, I have loved that movie ever since I was a small child. I was literally so obsessed with it growing up that I literally drew my own battle plans like Kevin did in the movie, like on how to set up traps in my house in case burglars broke in. That's how obsessed with the movie I was. I thought, why not talk about it? Because I'm pretty sure everybody else on this show likes the movie as well. And I thought, let's talk about it. Like, how did it affect your life? What are some of your favorite parts? Talk about some trivia from the movie. Let's have at it, guys.
I have to agree that it was also one of my favorite movies at the time period in which it came out, in which I was a child. And Greg and I are only, a year apart.
We're only a year apart.
But we see the PTSD that Kevin ended up suffering from being left home alone not once but twice, because then he became a meth addict and so on and so forth. So, but Nick, you were trying to say something. Go ahead.
Or as important and groundbreaking as the first one was, or at least as far as we were kids, it seemed like the second one just resonated better with me.
See, I never got to see the second one as much.
Because I think I saw the second one a lot as opposed to the original.
See, when I was growing up, both my parents and my grandparents really only had the first one on VHS. We never got the second one on VHS. My dad taped it off of TV. The tape he taped it on got corrupted or something. So I only ever saw the second one maybe a couple times at a friend's house. So I didn't see it quite as much as the first one. So while I like them both equally, the first one had more of an impact on me because of the fact that that was the one that I saw the most of when I was growing up.
But your boy's in the second one, Greg, so I'm surprised that it is not your favorite comparatively between just 1 and 2. I liked the second one, but I didn't like the second one as much as the first one. But I like how they directly played off of each other successfully, and they kind of repeated some stuff that was successful in the first movie.
Honestly, you can look at them side by side, and the second one might as well just you could knock the number off either one of them and then throw it on the other.
Yeah.
I feel that that's something they did well, but it's also once you've seen the one, the other one has something slightly different to offer, but it's about the same experience, so it might as well just be a remake.
This is a bit of trivia. One of the things for the longest time a lot of people wondered was, how exactly did they forget about Kevin? A lot of people who are like, that's kind of a big thing to overlook, like that and I know the whole thing about them thinking that one neighbor kid rifling through everybody's luggage was Kevin, so they counted him and all that, but you'd think that they would have looked at everything a little closer when they got to the airport and everything and realized, oh, well, they were missing a kid. However, somebody pointed out something. In the scene where Kevin attacks Buzz and causes him to spill the milk all over everybody's passport and everything.
When the dad goes to clean up.
If you look closely, you see in the wad of napkins he throws in the trash is Kevin's passport.
Well, it's his passport and his plane tickets. You don't even have to look that closely because all you got to do is pay attention, because the shot hangs on the trash can for a second before it moves on to the next shot. And, it hangs there for that second, just that brief heartbeat of a moment, so that you can see that.
And it's so weird because I never noticed that for the longest time. It wasn't until I was in my 20s when I finally noticed that detail, and I was like, I felt like such an idiot because it seemed so apparent that was why they hung on the trash can. Because growing up, I always thought, why are they showing them throwing away the napkins? I mean, that doesn't seem like it's that big of a deal. And then when I got older, I finally I saw an article on crack.com about scenes in movies you might have details in movies you might have missed, and that was one of them. And I was like, God fucking damn it, I can't believe I missed that all these years. As obsessively as I watched that movie growing up, you think that would have been one of the things that I noticed as a kid.
Well, no, I was going to ask you your thoughts. So the girl that counts...
Yeah, Megan.
I'm sure. I don't know what her name is.
I think that's Megan. I might be wrong. I'm sure.
But
yeah, that was Megan.
Okay, so the oldest one that counts all the kids and counts the neighbor boy or whatever. Do you hit that?
Oh, hell yeah. Hell yeah. I would totally hit that. Not only that, but I also found out that she, I was looking at some of the Wikipedia pages on some of the actors who are in the movie. Apparently I found out that the actress who played Megan, Hilary Wolf, later competed in the 1996 and 2000 Summer Olympics and for the United States in judo. So that's pretty cool. Well, another thing I found out is that in May 2011, the house went on sale for $2.4 million. It wasn't sold until almost a year later on March 2012 for $1.585 million. That's 1.585, not 1.585. Anyway, and now the house is promoted as a tourist attraction, so you can actually go visit the house. So that's pretty cool.
So I was actually talking about the character Heather.
Oh, Heather! Oh, fuck! Yeah, not Megan, Heather. So, shit, yeah. Oh, yeah, I would totally hit that.
Kristen Minter? I don't know how.
Yeah, Kristen Minter.
Female?
Damn!
Yes.
She's 51 now? That means she was 25 at the time. Okay. Oh my god, I forgot she was in that movie that Vanilla Ice starred in. Holy fuck.
So...
Holy shit, that's hilarious.
I would let her be home alone with my dick and balls. So,
yeah. Also, apparently, Harry and Marv actually have last names. It says here that their full names are Harry Lime and Marv Merchants. And I had never known that before, but I am looking at the page right now, and that is what their names are listed as. Also, another fun trivia fact, Joe Pesci was not the first person that they were going to cast as Harry. The original actor that they were going to cast as Harry was Robert De Niro, but he turned it down because of scheduling conflicts.
Okay. So he...
Could you imagine, though, Home Alone with Robert De Niro as Harry? That would be an entirely different movie.
But they're both great actors, so...
Yeah, they are both great actors. Fuck, I'm not saying, one's better than the other. I just think it's just, I'm just so used to seeing Joe Pesci as Harry that thinking of Robert De Niro as Harry weird.
So the shit that everybody talks about is how the traps, right? How the specific traps, how the fuck is it?
Yeah.
Where he gets
the motherfucker should have been dead.
Yes, that they should have been DED.
Well, it's Three Stooges. It's Three Stooges logic. It's all that stuff should kill you, but it doesn't because, they're going by the whole slapstick thing. It's not.
Yeah.
You're supposed to suspend your disbelief for a few minutes.
Then I guess my question would be, what was your guys' favorite trap
Oh,
from
that's
the
a
middle?
hard. That's a hard one. I think.
Greg is so
I'm
hard
gonna
right now, but anyway.
Yeah, I know. I'm gonna split it down the middle. I think my favorite trap that he had for Harry was when Harry opened the blowtorch with Harry, like when he sets his head on fire, because that scene, all like Joe Pesci's like the face he makes, and like that scream he does, like always like just makes me lose it. I think with Marv though, like when he slips down the stairs at the very beginning and like just slides down the stairs to the basement, and like that makes me laugh every time too. I mean it's simple, but it's effective, and it's funny. It's funny whenever that happens.
I've always hated spiders, so that one damages me just as much as it did them.
The paint cans down the steps, like that.
I have to agree with Nick. Like, mine is the paint cans down the steps. And I like how in the second one they brought it back, but he was like, oh, well,
you faked him out.
The one that fucks me up, like Emmanuel was saying that he's not a fan of spiders, so that one fucks him up and hurts him. The one where steps on the broken bulbs.
Yeah, when he steps on the ornament,
yes,
lights, in his bare feet.
Yeah, that
one's a bad one.
That one hurts me just as much as what it hurts him. I don't know.
Yeah,
why.
I mean, it's like that's like he's not actually stepping on them in his bare feet and everything. Like there's that part in your mind that says, okay, he's not actually stepping on him in his bare feet. They just had like these rubber like feet glove things that they put on his feet, like for him to step on them with, but it's still like, because you've had an experience like that before where you did step on something sharp like that, and it's such a painful, cringy like thought of like just stepping on something like that does kind of make you like just sort of like ugh.
What I was going to touch on earlier, you say how can they forget him, but the point is like they don't really care about Kevin all that much. Worlds. Yeah, and they're all wrapped up in their, it's paradoxical because they're doing this to like spend time with the family, and then they forget one of their family members.
Yeah.
And then, at the end, they realize they probably weren't doing a great job.
All right, everybody. Well, I think that's just about enough time we have for today's episode of Nostalgia Bomb. We would also like to hear what you guys thought about what we talked about, like what were perhaps your favorite scenes or lines from Home Alone, what your favorite traps were. Just put them in the comments section below, tweet them to us. That about wraps it up for this episode. We'll see you all next time, and we'll be back to 30 Minutes of Mayhem after this commercial break.
Welcome to my mini-mart. How may I help you?
Put the money in the bag!
So, how do you guys feel about virtual reality?
Honestly, I kind of feel like it's going to be the future of gaming.
I really think it's just going to go the way of motion controls, like a dodo.
See, the only thing I want it for is just that POV porn to where you got it on, but I just think about, like, imagine you have your Google Cardboard on, you got the headset on, you're just fucking going to town on yourself, and then your parents walk in or whatever, your whole fucking family's there.
Shut up!
You're caressing my face with a gun. If you're going to rob me, that's fine, just please don't kill me.
Rob you? No. We're supplying you with a product for the donation you're about to make.
Look at me, please take the gun out of my mouth.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I get carried away sometimes. You could have easily prevented this by donating via PayPal using 30minutesofmayhem@gmail.com.
Of course. I will like and share on Facebook. I will do anything. Dios míos.
Oh. Well, shit. I did not mean for that to happen.
We need to get the fuck out of here.
And that does it for another episode of 30 Minutes of Mayhem. I have been your host. My name is Michael Mayhew, and I have been here with my co-hosts,
Greg
and Nick.
Don't forget to check us out on iTunes, Stitcher, Spreaker, all those different locations, and donate to us on PayPal using 30minutesmayhem@gmail.com. And that does it for this episode, and I hope you have enjoyed it. Later, fellas.